So what do I love most about traveling? You kind of mentioned it, just that anticipation to be stress free and worry free for the next 3 4 days a week, whatever it's going to be. um you anticipate where you're going to stay, if the place looks like the pictures, or if the resort, if it's all inclusive, how you can eat all you want and drink all you want. um you know uh the experience of different attractions and different cultures and the shopping. All of that is exciting, man. I was thinking while you was talking, I really enjoy the camaraderie. And whether it's a trip with my boys, or if it's a group trip with, guys and girls, or if it's a little, getaway trip. Hey, hey, yo. Oh, I wish we was recording on that, son. Oh, I wish we was recording on
What?
that.
Welcome to the Clear the Air podcast with D and Q.
I'm deep.
Yo, I'm sorry. Y'all got to catch the behind the scenes. Today, talking about travel. I think this is something really near and dear to both of us. We both love to travel. We both talk about it all the time. There's certain trips I will not take with you. Don't even. 2 cities I will never go with you to. But shout out to my co-host for always trying to get me to travel with him.
Let's go.
But
Just one time, bro. One.
But it's summertime. It's still summertime. If y'all haven't checked out the It's Summertime podcast, please go take a look at that. But it's summertime. I like to call the summertime the season of travel. Okay. With that being said and done, have you been anywhere this summer, bro?
Out the country? No. I won't even say New York. New York was about it. Obviously, the regular spots. I think the furthest I've been so far is New York. Pardon my phone. Yeah, New York. Oh, Charlotte a couple times. Yeah, North Carolina. Myrtle Beach. Yeah. So those are about the three. Raleigh, Charlotte, Myrtle Beach, NYC. So yeah. How about you, my brother?
Sounds like you've been getting to it. I have really cut back from last year. I did just come from a trip, went back home, went to Boston. So that was pretty cool. Was only really there for a little more than 24 hours.
Right.
But I think I really made the most of the time that I had there.
Right.
But yeah, so Boston was really the main thing I did.
Okay. I don't know if you're going to elaborate on that trip a little more later, because you was up there when something, unfortunate happened. So
we might as well just go there now, because I think it might not be place for it later on. So
okay.
While I was in Boston, I'll say it this way. I couldn't have been in a better place to receive such sad news.
Right.
Okay. Bill Russell, 8-time champion.
11.
8 in 9 years, but 11 total.
Yes.
Champion. Bill Russell passed away at the age of 88, which is also the same age as my grandmother, who I went to see specifically in Boston. So rest in peace to the late Bill Russell. So many places we could go with that one, but
right. I mean, just briefly, for those that may not know, and maybe somebody out there that doesn't know the correlation with Bill Russell and Boston.
He is the iconic center for the Boston Celtics. He was, again, for, I don't know the years, But back in the day when TV was black and white, my man was giving buckets. Big time competitor with Wilt Chamberlain.
Right.
So during those times, those two centers butted heads. But again, 11-time champion, 8 out of 9 years going to the finals, they were champions.
Right. Now, don't gloss over it. What is his tricky relationship with the city of Boston outside of basketball?
Oh man, I mean, they've talked about his choice of women, and he dealt with a lot of racism while being in the city of Boston.
Uh-huh.
So that was
They broke in his house, trashed his house, either broke his trophies or stole his trophies, and they also, let's say, left something in his bed for him. Let's do it that way. Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, we just gonna leave it at that. So, but you know, he has he was saying how, you know, they had so much hatred for him, and he was a winner. He won them a lot of championships, and so he was saying that he would compartmentalize the anger and just take it out on the court, which is kind of what made him so dominant, helped him be so dominant on the court. But he also was huge off the court as far as like civil rights.
Civil rights.
Right. And one of the reasons why, because he was like, if they're treating me like this and I'm considered a hero in the city, imagine what an average Black person is going through in this city or in this country. So, so yeah, that's how he was. I was watching it today, how, you know, they had that big thing with him, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and was it Kareem? I think Kareem. How they had that summit, and it's that iconic picture of them. And so definitely a pioneer, legend, civil rights activist, and he will be sorely missed. So rest in peace, Mr. Russell, Bill Russell, 88 years old.
So I was in a restaurant with my sisters, and I ended up seeing. So,
right. How was it like? That's so crazy, because I remember when Kobe passed, I was in a restaurant as well. So I'm asking you, like, was it like, did it travel through the restaurant? Was it like breaking news, or was it, you know, was there like a hush over the restaurant? Or
yeah, man, it wasn't really a whole lot of reaction in the restaurant. There was a Red Sox game on as well, and they really had the TVs down low. I happened to look up.
right.
Two TVs to my left as I looked up, and I saw it. And I think I may have seen it at the same time that I think you texted me.
Right.
So it literally, I read your text, I looked up, and I saw, you know how they do your year you were born.
Right. Yeah. The little picture with the years on it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I saw that. I think it was that same day. I think it was that same Red Sox game. They had a moment of silence for him. Like, you know, I think in between one of the innings. So yeah, man.
But
yeah, we'd be remiss not to mention that. And since we talking about traveling, you was in Boston and when that happened. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, man. I know that there's a lot of traveling that we talk about. I'm not sure if I've ever asked you this question before, but what is your favorite travel destination? Now, before you answer, that could be a city, it could be a state, it could be a place.
For the longest, I would have said Miami. Just loved everything about it, the weather, the culture, the nightlife, obviously the women. Yeah. I mean, Miami just kind of encompassed everything. I started going there when I was 21, so I kind of, quote unquote, came of age up there. I mean, down there. You know, So yeah, I would have said Miami, but a lot has changed in Miami over the years. So I don't know if I would still say Miami. New York is always a great time. Um, just when I go to New York, I like to do everything like a New Yorker. Like I'm a full on, I like to take public transportation. I like to take the train. I like, you know what I mean? Like to walk and get out, be amongst the people. Obviously pre-COVID, but so that's one great thing about New York. But one thing about New York, after like 4 days, it's time to go. It's totally time to go. But New York encompasses a lot of that stuff too. But add the shopping. Like New York has wonderful shopping. Vegas is cool. I do like Vegas. Vegas, like New York, after 4 days, though, it's time to go. And Vegas to this day, no city in the US wipes me out like Vegas does. I think it's just the time difference. You're not really sleeping when you out there. When I get back home from Vegas, I'm just knocked. I love going to Cali, whether it's LA or the Bay. But one of my sneaky favorites, and it's more of an area, it's not necessarily one place specific, but that's the Pacific Northwest. Obviously, because I'm a huge Ducks fan, I've gotten to know that area a lot better. But Portland, Seattle, just that upper Pacific Northwest area is beautiful, dog. It's beautiful. It's artsy. It's weird, but it's the people is cool. It can rain a lot, so you got to pick and choose when you go. But it's just a really nice area. So, and I mean, obviously, goes without saying, DC is always DC. So, could never go wrong with DC. So, and Charlotte, I love Charlotte too. Charlotte is actually one of my favorite cities. I've often said that if I were to relocate, I would seriously give Charlotte a chance. And Atlanta, I can't forget about Atlanta. Atlanta is always a great time. It's getting a bad rap now because they've been wilding since COVID. But Atlanta's always a great time. I got family down there. My goddaughters are down there. So, Atlanta's always a great time. Always a great time. So it's a lot of places. I really can't say my favorite right now. Like I said, it would have been Miami, but I don't know if that's the case. How about yourself, brother?
So it's funny that while you enjoyed a lot of your time in Miami, I've in previous years spent a lot of time in Orlando.
Right.
And so both in Florida, but different types of flows.
Right. Although Orlando is fun too, bro. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
So for me, it was more of a family kick type of ordeal in Orlando. Plus, for me, and I'll talk about this a little later, just because of the career path I was on, Orlando was more shaped to that type of a situation for it. So for me, Orlando, I would have said Orlando, but I think I have to come down to where you are, bro. A little bit, almost.
Yeah, you ain't coming all the way though. I know what you about to
Almost.
say.
Almost.
FLL.
Yes, I'll do Fort Lauderdale, man. Just because I've come to build some really great. I've had some really great experiences, trips, which I won't go all into.
Bruh, yeah, you've had some experiences.
Yes, I've had some experiences,
Yeah,
but
I'm sure we'll get into those.
I don't know. But
Oh, okay.
I don't want to put people out there.
Right. We ain't gonna say no name.
Yeah, but I've had some good times, specifically with my wife. I think, man, last year I went 3 times. It was crazy. Anniversary, birthday, and for a friend's birthday. So 3 times, man, it was really cool. But Again, I think I'd have to say that DC area still too, even though I work in that area. It's a difference between when you are working and when you're playing in that area. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Right.
Yeah, I'll leave it at those places.
Right. All right. So let me ask, we did it within the country. What's your favorite destination outside the country?
So I don't feel as if I've been out of the country enough
Right.
to really qualify and say that. Now I've got some bucket list places. I can get into that yet. But I don't think I've been out of the country enough to say that I will have a favorite. I don't call Puerto Rico necessarily out of the country. It's technically not out of the country. But if I had to say the place that feels like it's out of the country, that's my favorite, then I would say Puerto Rico, but it's not technically so.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. Puerto Rico is considered U.S. territory, but it do feel like you're out of the country. Bruh, you in this cup.
Hey man, look, my little girl brought me some, my youngest, she brought me a beverage, high quality H2O. And hey, she picked out a cup that she would use. So
That's what we was laughing at the beginning of the show.
definitely.
She's so sweet.
Yeah, that's little mama, man.
Yeah, she is.
So this is what I will say, because I think when you start talking about your favorite place to travel, I think this could have really probably been the first question. What is your favorite thing about travel? And if you need me to go first, I got you.
Yeah, you can go ahead, bro. You can go ahead, bro, because I'm sure you're gonna ask me what's my favorite out of the country destination, then what's my favorite thing. So go ahead, double up.
Double up. So for me, I think it's the euphoria of being away, being in a different zip code, just being away. You're not worried about work, not worried about your day-to-day situations. So it's the euphoria of being away. I think another favorite thing that I have about travel is the food. Trying out different places, specifically if it's a place that is known for a particular thing. I think the other thing I would say is just being with my wife. That's part of the euphoria of being away. Knowing that the both of us are having that mental vacation. Um, so, and I think probably one of the last things is being able to offer my children, if they're traveling with me, a new or different experience. So those would be some of the things that are a favorite for me about travel. Now, for you, back to you. What is your favorite out of the country destination? And then follow up with talking about your favorite thing about travel. Hit me with it.
Okay. My favorite out of the country destination, I have three. I'm actually gonna rank them. Three was Ibiza. Ibiza was Ibiza was beautiful. Just the scenery, the beaches, being able to see the culture. I'll admit I didn't know too much about it before I went. I didn't know it was like really like, the party capital, or considered one of the party capitals of the world. But it's just it's a beautiful place, beautiful beaches. The place we stayed at was real nice. Ibiza was just a really fun trip. Two, it's kind of like you with Puerto Rico. It is out of the country, but it's kind of a quick and easy trip, and that's the Bahamas. I love the Bahamas. I want to say I've been there 3 times. I know I've at least been there twice. 2 times for my birthday, and actually the last time I went, I stayed at the newest section, which is Baha Mar. That section. When I went the first time, they was actually building it. When I went back, it was completed, and we actually stayed there, stayed at the SLS. So yeah, Bahamas, just everything, the culture, the food, the conch. I just remember eating that. I remember going to it's like this little strip where they had all these like little hole in the wall places to eat, and they had all this great food. Obviously, Atlantis is there. You know, you can go to, I think it's Exuma, see the pigs and all that stuff. They got the water park. So I would say the Bahamas is second. Number one, dog, it's got to be Dubai. Dubai was just, man, I can't even explain it. Dubai. And again, I don't know, maybe I was living under a rock, but I didn't know a lot about Dubai before I went either. Like, I didn't know it was this super rich place, you know, like uber religious. I just didn't. So obviously, you know, I researched these things before I went. And so, you know, with Dubai, you got to know what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot wear, you know. And then I pretty much was put in charge of planning the trip. So I had to go deep into it. But Dubai, man, just from the scenery, the places that's over there, the place where we stayed, going to Abu Dhabi, going to the mosque and praying, and Dubai was just everything. A yacht party in the middle of the Persian Gulf, and seeing the only, like, I think it's a 7-star hotel or some yeah, the joint that's shaped like a sailboat. And Dubai was at the shopping, all the amusement park, going to Ferrari World, riding the world's fastest roller coaster, and indoor ski resort inside a mall, and going to the zoo, and did everything, bro. Did everything. In the desert, rode a camel, ATV ride, all that. Yeah, Dubai was it. Gotta shout out everybody that came on that trip. Dubai was amazing. Still the best trip I've taken. Um, I was fortunate growing up. My parents, whenever they went on vacation, they took me with them. So I've been everywhere, man. I've been, you know, Mexico, cruises, Hawaii. Hawaii was dope too. I really like to go back because I was young when I went. I'm I'm jumping ahead. All right. So what do I love most about traveling? You kind of mentioned it, you know, just that anticipation to be stress free and worry free for the next 3-4 days, a week, whatever it's going to be. Um, you know, you anticipate where you're going to stay. You know, if the place looks like the pictures, or if the resort, you know, if it's all inclusive, how you can eat all you want and drink all you want. Um, you know, the experience of different attractions and different cultures and the shopping. All of that is exciting, man. I was thinking while you was talking, I really enjoy the camaraderie. And whether it's a trip with my boys, or if it's a group trip with, you know, guys and girls, or if it's a little, you know, getaway trip with a nice young lady, like I enjoy it all, man. I really do. It's just, you know, I can't say I enjoy one more than the other. Just because each time you gotta go with a you know, a dope person or a dope group of people, that because that
I
can make
agree.
or break a trip.
I agree.
But you know, once you do that, man, it's just gravy from there. And what I also enjoy, one of the first things I do if I go to a place and they have a professional team or a professional sporting event going on, I look. First thing I do is check the calendar. And a lot of times I will schedule my trip around when there's going to be a home game in that city. So I love, you know, being able to witness sporting events in these places that I go. So, yeah, man, I just enjoy it. I hate coming back. You know, that'd be a dreadful. All right. I enjoy the flights going over there. Oh, however you getting there.
Let me ask this question. And I think it's a little different from the question about that we've asked before, like your favorite travel destination, because your favorite travel destination does not necessarily have to be your most memorable. So what do you think is one of your most memorable moments of travel?
Again, what I was going to allude to before, and you stopped because it fits better now. And just growing up, man, like I was saying, I was fortunate when my parents, whenever they went on vacation, they took me with them. They never left me at home. So I traveled a lot growing up. I learned the importance of traveling and seeing different things, whether it's different countries or a cruise or, you know what I mean? So, you said my favorite memory?
Favorite memory. I think
All
you,
right.
I think you kind of said it,
I
but go
have
ahead
a,
if you
I
go.
have I have a I have a memory. I have a memory.
Okay.
Funny story right here. Right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. About to be funny story. So we were on a cruise, just me and my parents, right? Obviously, they went to sleep. So one thing, I love cruises. We'll talk more on that later, but I love cruises. But I'm sure people have been on cruise, but if you haven't, everything is there on the cruise. So they had this club on the cruise. So my parents are asleep. I'm out, and I go to the club, of course. Now I think I'm about 19 at the time. I know I wasn't 21. So they was having this competition in the club. I don't know if it was a dancing competition or something, but and I can't remember what I did, but it was a young lady there. And we had to do something. I don't know if it was dance or something. It might have been like a challenge we had to do. But anyway, we won. Yeah, we won. I'm gonna give you the PG version. We won whatever it was, right? And so they was like, blah, blah, blah. Okay, take her to the bar and buy her a drink. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm only 19 or 20. I was not 21. But somehow I was able to do it. So got her a drink, whatever. The funny part is this. I did not know that. So the cruise had an kind of like an all access channel where they showed all the different things that was going on the cruise. Dog, they were recording. Yes, dog. Woke up next morning, TV on. My parents seen everything. My parents seen everything, doggy. Yo, my parents seen everything. And like a true G, they ain't, they I don't know. Pops is just like, Pops, he just keep it real. My mother. The blood of Jesus. Oh man. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Yeah, but I did not know, bro. I was being filmed. I was being filmed. I get up in the morning. All my dirt is on every TV on the cruise. So I think that's one of my most memorable moments. Shorty was tough too. Oof, she was tough. But anyway, yeah, she was tough. Yes, sir.
So shout out to my dad, but this is reserved for my grandmother because, and then I'm going to tell you why after I say it. So my grandmother she played a major role in our family reunions growing up, and I have two a summer. I think the last time we shot, I had missed one, and now that we're shooting, there's an upcoming one that I'm not going to be able to make because of a prior engagement. But growing up, my grandmother was always a part of the family reunions, helped plan them, and just always knew what was going on. So I was always at them. And it had such a profound impact on me that it shaped my career choice. So for those that don't know, I went to school for hospitality and tourism management with that guy at James Madison University. He went for something different, but that's how paths connected and crossed. So for me, it was the growing up part and really just my grandmother's exposure to travel whether it was a timeshare she had in Rhode Island, or even if it was just, us coming from Boston to Baltimore and then going to family reunions, driving on the bus. And when I say the bus, like a van or something, to get from Baltimore to North Carolina. We had a lot of stuff in North Carolina. That's where my grandmother's from.
You said
So
Rhode Island, bro? That's crazy.
yeah, my grandmother had a timeshare in Rhode Island.
Ah, that's dope.
Yeah, yeah.
That
So
was
even what's crazy is I think it's Newport News or Newport, Rhode Island, not Newport News, Newport, Rhode Island.
I was about to say that's Virginia, buddy.
Right, right. But what I remember vaguely, and it's funny, I told her this when we talked. I said the only thing I remember, I was really young, but old enough to remember it, is that it was a room, because Newport is like on the water. All I could see when I looked out the window, and it was a small window, like a corner room, but all I can remember is that there were so many boats, bro. So many boats on the water. So shout out to my grandmother for her role in my travel experience growing up, but also for how it shaped my career. So, and there's so many different stories from family reunions that I will not get into, but definitely shout out to her for that. Shout out to my dad, man, for his role, just because he was in the medical field. He was studying to be an MD. So he would travel different places just when he was doing his rotations and, when he was doing different stints. And so I got to travel a lot that way growing up as well. So I do want to ask this question, because we asked what was our favorite thing about travel. And then you already kind of started to talk about the worst thing about travel. So what would you say is the worst thing about travel?
Obviously, coming back, knowing that it's over, that's probably the worst thing. Man, your luggage getting lost, bruh. Yeah, luggage getting lost. Let's say any issues with like the hotel or the resort, wherever you stay, any issues with that. You know what's real whack? If you got somebody in the group that's just like a bump on the log, or just like totally against everything y'all want to do, or they just not having fun, Debbie
That's
Downer.
word. Yeah, that's word.
Yeah, I think that's the worst. But fortunately, I have a good circle of good people that I travel with, and you kind of can gauge that before you go. But I think those are the big things. Coming back, lost luggage. Yeah, God forbid, thankfully I haven't experienced any kind of like crime or anything, or theft or stuff like that. Break-ins and things like that. So, but I can just imagine how that could be, put a damper on your trip, safety, stuff like that. So yeah. How about you, bro?
Kind of really hit on it. I think reality hitting that it's time to get back to reality is a tough, like that airport ride.
Yeah, that joke back. Like, wait a minute. One last drink, one last breakfast, one last whatever. Checking out the hotel, getting that receipt. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. But everything you said,
that plane ride feels so different going home than it do,
does.
right?
It does. It does. It
Yeah.
does. I think everything you said, though, you mentioned some things I hadn't even thought about. I think everything you said could be some of the worst things to happen when you're traveling. Let's briefly talk about the different ways to travel. And I think you mentioned one I hadn't thought about. So you kind of gave us a cruise story. So cruises are a way, and you're gonna see why we're going here about the favorite ways to travel a little later on, but not favorite ways to travel, but ways to travel. So,
right,
like you said, there's the cruise, there's road trips,
right.
Okay, there's obviously airplanes. We've talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the ways, these last two ways, are ways in which my grandmother actually, and again, I'm giving her a lot of love. It's timely, but
Do that, bro.
Yeah, man,
always give them flowers.
Oh, for sure. Two of the ways that I traveled a lot growing up, with her specifically, or even with my mom, but was the bus or Amtrak train. Okay. Amtrak to most people is probably foreign, but yeah, Amtrak was definitely one of the most popular ways for us to get from Boston to Baltimore and back. But then also, you had, the bus that got us. It made it taken longer and may not have been as the most comfortable ride, but it got us where we needed to go. So just real quick, have you done all of those things mentioned?
Yeah, yeah. It was a time back in the day. I wasn't too proud to ride. I mean, I wasn't too proud to ride the bus. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've been on the Greyhound. I've done the China bus. You know what I mean? Mega bus. So there was days back in the day when you know, and again, sometimes it was just, it might have been a financial thing. It might have been a convenience thing. Rather not drive and, you know, worry about gas and tolls, and you know what I mean? So yeah, but that would probably be last on my list. I like a good road trip. It depends, but again, it depends on who you ride with. If you got a good riding mate, a road trip is dope. A road trip is dope. And now, you can, you got all types of music. You can stream different things. You can watch movies. Almost every whip got a TVs now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I got them. I've had them in my truck for a minute. So I don't mind driving. Taking the road trip. I just don't want I normally watch like stand-up comedy or something. So something I can hear. You know what I'm saying? Because I shouldn't be watching it while I'm driving. So I got a bunch of stand-up comedies.
You're a
Um,
podcaster now. Listen to some podcasts, brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, of course, like I said, before I said that, I said you could stream anything and do all that. So yes, got all that. But then you could just rap with your peoples. Like if you in the car with your boys, y'all can talk about different things. So a road trip is definitely cool. I enjoy a good flight. Quick, get me there. Um, if it's a long flight, obviously if you fly to the West Coast, you gotta fly. Um, just the jet lag and stuff, and then worry about your luggage getting lost. But I do love a good flight. Might have to worry about security. Advise y'all to get the TSA pre if y'all don't have it. Um, so yeah, I do like to fly. But I mentioned it before, and maybe that's not the right part for me to talk about it, but I do love a cruise, man. I do love a cruise. And cruises are interesting because I feel like people either love them or they hate them. There's no middle ground. You know what I mean? I like them because everything you need is right there.
Yeah.
All the food you can eat, all the entertainment, the clubs is there. They got comedy shows. The comedians be on the boat all week.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got, if it's a 7-day cruise, you might have 3 or 4 days where you stop at a destination and get off for the day. I just really like cruises. If you were, you got different cruises. You got the Disney family cruise. You got single cruises. You got uh black cruises. You know what I mean? You got, what I'm saying? It's just different themes for them. I really like cruises. That's another really dope trip I had the year before Ibiza. Took a cruise, and that was probably the best cruise I had taken. Went to like Puerto Rico for the day. We went to St. Martin. St. Martin was dope because that's where where you be on the beach and the planes like come really close over the beach where they landed. So I saw that, but it was actually very eye-opening because I want to say that I don't even think it was the year before. It might have been months before they had that huge hurricane over there and damaged a lot of the island. And we got on ATVs, and I don't think we were supposed to ride around as much as we did, but we ended up riding around the whole island, bro. And it was a lot of damage. Like you just saw abandoned school bus, plane, and it was real eye opening. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I like cruises. Then a lot of times the the cruise you take, they may have like a private resort somewhere that might be a stop.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can go, and then, they got zip lining and basketball court, arcade, and
They got everything, bro.
yeah. And again, the food is it's crazy on there. Like, it's just all you can eat. So, and then if it's all inclusive, it's all you can drink. So, you wake up. Yeah, I know you.
That's out my league. That's out my
Yeah.
league.
But anyway,
My league.
it's all you can drink. So, from sun up to sundown.
So he really gonna take a drink while he said that, bro?
From sun up to sundown. You know what I mean? Start with the mimosas and with the blue dot.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Just unlimited blue dot from sun up to sundown. So, but anyway,
I think something that we definitely should talk about. I'm trying to stay away from talking about the pandemic as much. However, we have been talking, in our investing episodes. Please check that one out as well. We have been talking about recessions and inflation and stuff like that. And you have to realize that when something like that hits, it impacts a lot of different industries, all of them. And travel is definitely one that gets impacted. I can remember in 2008, when we went through everything we went through, it was tough for hotels. It was tough. And at that time, I was working for Marriott. So I definitely know firsthand what it's like to be impacted by what the economy is doing. That being said, let's talk about the increase in prices, how flights, hotels, and I think you may have even mentioned, let's talk about that. So just real quick, I'll kick that one off. I noticed that, in the pandemic, I was seeing prices like, oh, wow, like I can get used to these prices here.
Right.
And some of the places that, you would have really wanted to go. And obviously, that how supply and demand works. But as we've stuttered out of COVID to a degree, you start to see people say, okay, if you didn't get your trip on, sorry for you.
Right.
Because those prices are going up. Talk to us about what you've seen.
Well, I remember 2020, you can get flights to Vegas from the East Coast for $50. I remember that. Bro. Flights was like $20-something, $30-something, because so many people were scared to fly. I mean, I just remember seeing the highways being empty. I remember the airports being empty. People were just afraid to fly. That airports was pretty much giving away flights. Hotels were the same way. Now, like you said, we're coming out of this. I've noticed a change. Hotels are definitely way more expensive, even if you got a discount hookup. Even down to rental cars. I've heard some people that have tried to rent a car, and they've become a little more expensive. Flights are crazy. Even like quick flights to like Miami or Atlanta are not as inexpensive as they used to be. And you can still do your due diligence, book it early. You know what I mean? Fly on kind of like off days or off times, so you could, try to get those prices down. But yeah, man, it's kind of gone up all the way across the board. So, I mean, and it's so crazy. How many people have we seen go to Cancun or Tulum? Tulum was like the place. Everybody was going to Tulum. So people were still making it happen. But yeah, it went up, man. It went up. And again, like you said, it's supply and demand. So that demand is there now. So I don't know if these companies, these corporations are trying to get back wages, back stuff. You know what I mean? So
that bottom line.
Yeah, but then you see, pilots are striking and stewardesses, and you know what I mean? A lot of people within these service industries and travel industries, hospitality industries, they having issues. So It's pretty interesting, man. I'm interested. I'm intrigued to see how the
bounce back is.
the bounce back is, but how it's going to be if and when we go into a recession.
Oh no, sir, we are in a
Oh,
recession.
we are in. That's right. That's right.
We are
We are
officially
in.
in.
Yes. I forgot. What was that? The other day or last week?
Last week.
Last week. Yeah.
Last week. We are officially in a recession.
Right. So I'm interested to see how the travel and hospitality industries will be affected.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about hotels just now. We've talked about flights. What is your favorite airline? What is your favorite hotel brand?
Airline, Spirit, and Frontier. Of course
Or
not.
should you say JetBlue, Spirit, and Frontier?
Of course not. JetBlue, all right. JetBlue was one of
JetBlue is legit.
Yeah, JetBlue was one of the first airlines that had the screens in the headrest. Yeah, I like JetBlue. I like Delta. Delta seems to do me well. They have decent amount of flights, decent amount of times. They go to, a lot of places. They fly in and out of a lot of places. I like Delta. I do like JetBlue. American is okay. I feel like American has a lot more flights and a lot more, and they fly into a lot more places, but you can kind of have issues with them. You know what I mean? And then they can be kind of, the cancellation stuff. Like yeah. But they have the availability. I like JetBlue. I like Delta. I've always wanted to fly Virgin Airlines. What's his name? Richard Brandt or whatever it is. Branson. Yeah, I've always wanted to fly that. The pictures of it look dope, and I know a few people that have flown them, and they said it's really dope. So I've always wanted to fly them. Oh, bro, I only flown it once when I went to Dubai. I know I keep talking about Dubai, but Emirates is tough.
Yes.
Emirates
the level of service.
Level of service. The food was good. Unlimited drinks. And again, I guess that's because you traveling internationally. Yeah. I think that's the case when you travel internationally. But yeah, Emirates was good. They had the good entertainment, the music, the movies, music, the games, all that was, in the hairbreadth in front of you. Emirates was dope.
Favorite hotel brand?
Bro, you already know. I'm a Marriott king. Marriott baby. Not king, but Marriott baby. I've been a Marriott dude, I don't know, since I don't know.
Since I worked for them?
Yeah, since you worked for them. Before you worked for them. Yeah, Marriott. If we going regular,
gotcha.
How about you, brother? Mr. Marriott himself?
Oh no.
Not no more, but
no. Favorite airline is Southwest. Reason I say is because I feel like you can find definitely decent prices. They don't go as many places, I would say, as, like you said, either the Delta or the American, but they go to enough to where I don't feel as if like I can't go where I would like to go.
Can I ask you something? Let me interject right quick. I have a question for you. Because I need someone to explain this to me. I've never flown Southwest, and I know a lot of people like them mainly because you get 2 free bags. Right? Which is super dope. And I know they got the want to get away joints. If you book them 2 weeks in advance, you can kind of get a great price. You and this cup is killing me. But explain to me the seating system. I don't get it. Explain it to me, please.
A, B, and C. So when you go to book your flight, the best thing for you to do is to check in as early as you possibly can, which is, I believe, 24 hours in advance. Once you do that, they'll tell you A, B, or C. Now, typically the A, I think they call them A-listers, are typically military, family, or those who pay for, to go first, which people like to do because you have the pick of the litter for your seat. There's no assigned seats. It's a first come, first serve basis. So, again, A, gonna get the best seats. B, you fall in line. For me, as long as I'm not in C, I'm good. I typically always get that B, either B between B16, B30. Is where I typically, get into. So that's really what it is. There's no assigned seats, A, B, or C. If you get A, you're on there first. If you get B, you're next in line. By the time you get to B, you still have decent seats to pick from. If I want a window seat and I'm in B, I'm gonna get that. C, sorry for you.
So is it true that C, you most likely sitting in the middle? It'd be nothing but like middle seats left by the time you get on the plane.
I don't know because I don't do C, but what I know is you don't have much to pick from. You're taking what other people do not want, which more than likely might be middle seats, or you're one of those people who you're like, man, just sit down somewhere.
Right.
Stop trying to be picky because you don't have anything really to pick from.
Right.
So that's Southwest.
Like that? Do you?
I'm cool. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it because, like I say, I'm never gonna be C. If you're C, that means you will really
want to get on the plane and you just want to get there.
Well, no, not even that. If you're C, what I was gonna say is it basically means you were one of the last people to check in. That's what it is.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yes.
So you checked in at the 23rd hour.
Right at 24. I'm right there. So
you in the back middle by the bathroom.
No.
Unless might be one left. That might be the middle seat in the back by the bathroom.
If you're a C.
If you see, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Me, I'm probably midway through.
Right. Window seat or aisle seat.
Exactly. So
okay.
Yeah. My favorite hotel brand, yes, is going to be Marriott, primarily because I worked for them. I bought into their culture because I felt like of all hotel brands, I would say companies in general, that hospitality, not just because I went to school for it, but who I was before I even stepped out of school, it's kind of what I identified with. For me, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but for me, I'm starting to like the AC hotels just because they are more boutique. My last hotel that I worked at was actually a boutique hotel. So I like that feel that, you offer something that I might not see that's cookie cutter per se.
Right.
Okay. So that's that I do like.
I want to shout out to Gaylord too. I do like Gaylords. Gaylord's are super dope. Kind of gives you that resort feel. Kind of got everything right there. So I do like Gaylords.
Gotcha. Now we're gonna do some hot seat stuff before we clear the air. And I think how we gonna clear the air is gonna be really dope. I know we've talked a lot about ourselves, but in this clearing the air, we're gonna give back, so to speak. But before we clear the air, a couple questions. How many states have you been to?
Man, I haven't wrote them all down. I've been to a good amount. And I was going to mention this earlier. I'm probably struggling with the Midwest. I haven't really been to that Midwest area a lot. And then the super Northeast, so like Vermont, Rhode Island. I have been to Maine. So maybe I did drive, because we drove to Maine. So maybe I did drive through Vermont and New Hampshire and stuff like that. And maybe just don't remember. I'm not sure. Because we used to drive to Niagara Falls all the time too. So I'm not sure. I don't remember. I'm not going to count it because I don't remember.
And driving through to me is not necessarily you've been there.
Yeah. But it can be like if you stop and look at some of the sites and this and that, blah, blah, blah. But just a drive through, I don't know. But at least you could say, look, I was step foot in Vermont. But anyway, I have not been to Mississippi. Don't want to go. I think Mississippi and Alabama are 2 worst states for obvious reasons. Uh, Idaho, Wyoming, all them joints, I ain't been there. Montana, I have been to Minnesota. Again, Pacific Northwest, Arizona, pretty much everywhere on the West Coast. I mean,
But you don't know how many. So would it be safe to say you've done 20 plus?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say 30 to 35? You'll say between 20 and 30 probably.
Yes. Yeah. I'll even go as far to say 25 to 30. I'm probably at 25. I'm probably a half.
Okay.
Yeah. And matter of fact, I'm gonna give myself a homework assignment and write them all down. So the next episode, I'll have a concrete number.
No, I need that served by before Friday. And
okay, because you
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I need it before Friday.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So keeping it moving.
How many you been to?
I said about 20. I'm about half. I would say 20 to 22.
Okay.
20 to 22. Some places that you probably haven't been to in the Midwest.
Right.
Again, my dad, being in the medical field, has gone a few places that I've had the liberty of going to.
You been to Maryland before?
Come on, man. Come on, man. So it's a dumb question to ask if we've been out of the country. The both of us have been. You already named. You've got favorites out of the country.
Right.
I've been out of the country. It's funny. I've been out of the country once, and I was in high school. So I don't know if I would say it's my favorite, but having said that, what are some bucket list destinations that you'd like to go to?
Here's an interesting one. Well, one is Brazil. I don't know if y'all can see my tank top. I got a Brazil tank top on. I'm in my full travel garb tonight. But yeah, I got a Brazil tank top on. Brazil, that's more so for my best friend. He's always wanted to go there. He always said he wanted his bachelor trip to be in Brazil. So that's more so for him. Here's an interesting one you probably don't hear every day. So I took Spanish in high school, and for some reason, when you learned about the different Spanish countries, for some reason, I always took a liking towards Paraguay. I don't know why, but I
know why. That blame Carmen Sandiego.
So I've just always wanted to go there. So that's one place on my bucket list where I want to go. Paraguay. Bringing up Dubai, it feels good to know that I've been to a place where that's on a lot of people's bucket list, and I did it. We did it real big too. So, but yeah, I think my bucket list, Paraguay. I've done Hawaii. Do you have a desire to go to Alaska?
Slightly, yes. But I know that would be a trip that I would only go to by myself. My wife would never be interested.
Why is that? Too cold or the darkness? Or is it sun? Is the sun up hours or is it dark?
This dark more hours than it is just based on location. So I like adventure to a degree. Like I like, that outdoor stuff. I'm scared when it comes to Alaska for two reasons. Number one, because of the cold temperatures, but also because of the animals.
Yes.
Okay. So with those two things, if I would go there, I would love to go there with someone who's been there before. And I know two people who have. In fact, one person who worked at the boutique hotel I last worked at, and then it's a lawyer that moved out of the building that I currently manage who used to work there. So I've learned some stuff about Alaska from them.
Right.
So Alaska, yes, that has been a place I've been intrigued about. Maybe something I'd YouTube about to try to get my ideas on, but yeah.
I always think about the that basketball tournament, the Great Alaskan Shootout that they have every year. And then shout out to my boy, one of my closest friends, old college roommate. His lovely wife is actually from Alaska. So he goes there often now. I think they either Christmas or Thanksgiving, they'll go to Alaska. So yeah, you in this cup, bro. You in this cup. One place I do want to go, bucket list right here. I want to go to Africa. I want to go to Africa. Definitely. I want to go to Africa. Yeah. I can't think. Is there anywhere in the States you want to go that's like on your bucket list?
No, don't act.
Look, let me
give my list and then you keep
my bad. I'm sorry. I asked you about Alaska. You know what I'm saying?
You did.
I said Africa. What you trying to do? Where you trying to go?
So bucket list places, Africa definitely is a place I'd like to go. I don't know if I have a specific. I'm lying. I definitely want to get to Egypt.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get there. My wife and I are very intrigued by the pyramids, of course. So Egypt, definitely. I think if I had to pick another place, it would be Ethiopia.
Right.
So I think they have they have had a church for several, either hundreds or thousands of years.
Right.
There. So I would love to go there. Italy is on my list as well.
Yes, sir.
I would like to go to Dubai. I have a funny story when it comes to Dubai that relates back to travel. So this is one of the reasons why I love travel too. You just being able to meet so many different people from areas where you're not able to go. And so there's this longing for that place once you start to ask questions. So for me, Dubai, just because when I was at my first hotel that I worked at, we had, I believe, like sheikhs and princesses and just different people of royalty that were coming to Johns Hopkins for treatment for months at a time. They didn't even know how long. Yeah, they didn't even know how long they would be there. And so one of the cool things was that I remember them taking, man, it was dope in two ways. They had the money, they had the bread to do what needed to be done. And they wanted to take two rooms and put them together. So we had to knock down some walls. But what I liked is that the resident manager and the general manager said, okay, cool, we can do this for you, but you're going to pay up front for us to knock it down and for us to put it back together. I will say that how I first learned of iPhone was through the children who came in with iPhones. And I'm like, yo, what is that? I've never seen that phone before. And then after a while, you end up saying, oh, iPhone. Oh. So
wait. They actually knocked down a wall in the hotel
to put two rooms together because,
So instead of getting connecting rooms, they just knocked the wall down. And your hotel approved that.
Yeah, because they got that bread to do so and to put it back together when it was time for them to leave.
Yo, that's a different type of bread.
It's a different type of bread. Different type of bread.
Mm-hmm. I hope one day to achieve that status of loaf of bread.
And you're talking about just it was big time family, and kind of intimacy. That was one of the reasons. Just being able to have all of what you needed. Dude, they took over the kitchen. They literally would bring their own animals, ship them over. And they were in there cooking the way they cook so that, again.
In the hotel.
It was a whole nother level of service. And what was cool was that the bellman took care of them a lot because, again, you're talking about shopping, you're talking about arranging things, you're talking about a lot of different things. Again, that high level of service. So you got to imagine they were invited to come out to Abu Dhabi. Wow. And they were taken care of. So you're talking about, one of the bellmen was coming back talking about the chandeliers. Their way of doing hotels was they would have, I kind of don't want to say this because it has a connotation. Let's just say it this way. There was a prototype for bellman. There was a prototype for front desk. There was a prototype for just about every situation. And while we can look at that and say whether that was racist or whether that was just kind of stereotypical, it worked in terms of the level of service.
Bro, I seen it. I witnessed it. We stayed in Atlantis. We had the presidential suite in Atlantis, that the little joint with the bridge, that whatever. We had the top suite in Atlantis, and we had 24-hour concierge. And this dude, hand and foot, bro. Service was immaculate. And but when I tell you he had everything set up for us, like when we went to the club, they was waiting for us. They was calling us, you know what I'm saying? They was calling me by my full name at the front. It was like, hey, Mr., we've been waiting for you, blah, blah, blah. You know, anything we needed, it was set up. Like when we would go on the excursion during the day, it was set up already. It was crazy. Yeah, the level of service.
Level of service
Different
is
over
crazy,
there.
bro.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I wanna shout out the people that made that trip happen. Well, one person in particular for making that trip happen. You know, we are all forever indebted to that person for making that Dubai trip happen. So yeah. Real quick, and I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay, Kanye.
I know I'm gonna let you finish, but you mentioned Egypt. My OG, his birthday just passed in June, and he went to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was amazing, but he came on the Dubai trip with us. Actually, he went on all the trips with us, but he went to Egypt and he said it was amazing. And two, you said Italy. So our trip, we would take one every year, and the trip after Dubai, we was going to Italy and Mykonos, which is, you know, the Greek islands and all that. And of course, COVID hit. And so I was definitely looking forward to that trip. So I think definitely gonna have to make that trip up.
Greece too, since you mentioned that. Greece is another place. I had a guy from the last hotel I worked at, he was from Greece. And his name sounded so close to Giannis. I won't put his name out there, but his name was very close to Giannis.
Oh, for real? How was that last name though? You mean it was Antetokounmpo?
Actually, no, his last name was a lot easier than that. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
right. Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I keep saying we're gonna jump into us actually clearing the air, but I'm gonna ask this question just because summertime is coming to an end soon. Are there any planned trips before school starts back up, even though you don't have children, but before school starts back up and we can officially say, just like how we did at the beginning of summer, when does that begin?
Right.
When does summer actually end? Because you have the actual date, and then you actually have, again, when kids go back to school, and it's kind of like we're back to business as usual. So do you have any planned trips before, let's just say, the end of August?
Well, obviously, you know, my birthday is coming up, so I normally have two parts to it. I'll normally do something, you know, in DC or something, then I'll do a second part in another city or travel somewhere, take a trip. But, you know, obviously the past couple of years because of COVID, I'm not gonna say I couldn't go out the country, but I just didn't. But this year, bro, major blower, dog. Bruh, just realized maybe like 2 weeks ago that my passport expires. Actually, now I think it expired at the end of July. So I'm pretty limited on what I can do, where I can go. I think I can go to the passport place in DC and get it done like within a couple hours. So if I know a few people had to do that when we went to Dubai. Keep hating to bring that up, but yeah, a few people had to do that. So I think that is an option. So all is not lost. If I need to, you know, if I get the sudden urge to take a trip, I can do that.
You just need to get on top of it now so that it's not a sudden urge situation.
Right. Because the thing is, you know, you still feeling the effects of COVID when it comes to things like that. I think it's like a 6 to 8 week wait. And then I didn't even realize it was 10 years old. So I got to take another picture, which is, nothing. But, it ain't like I could just send it off. I just stuff I got to do before I will have to send it off, then wait 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So that's going to be the challenge for me when taking the trip. But like you said, I just need to get it done. Just go ahead and get it. Whether I take a trip or not, 6 to 8 weeks, that'll be what, like October, late September, October. I'm gonna be wanting to take a trip around there, or probably before Christmas. So,
Right.
So yeah. How about you, bro? You taking any trips?
My wife keeps asking me what I want to do for my birthday, and I don't have anything. So,
Right.
I don't have anything.
Speaking of birthdays, or we gonna wait till we clear the air?
Let's wait till we clear the air.
All right.
Let's wait till we clear the air. So let's clear the air.
Okay.
And in clearing the air, I wanna encourage travel.
Right.
Okay. And encouraging travel, that's one of the reasons why we talked about the ways to travel, because I think a lot of time there's a lot of obstacles we put in our own way. So just like when we talked about investing, there's a lot of obstacles that we say, oh, I can't invest. I don't have the money. I can't invest. It's too expensive. I don't know. What we want to do, again, this is a podcast that's directed for men. Watch this, that women will benefit from. I like that. I like that it's a podcast for men that women will benefit from, whether they join into the conversation or because we are part of a community of men that uplift and build men so that they can take that back to their families. That being said and done, we want to encourage travel. One of the ways that I've kind of sparked conversation about travel in my own home was through this. And I don't even remember where we got this from, but this is just the United States. Some people can, you hear us talking about Dubai, you hear us, like my one out of the country trip was to the Netherlands, okay, for basketball in high school. And so you hear that stuff and it can sound very discouraging because, again, we're talking about prices going up. And if you missed it during the pandemic because you were just trying to survive, what is it going to be like to be able to travel now that prices are skyrocketing? Well, again, all is not lost. You can get a bus, like you mentioned, D, Greyhound, Megabus, the China bus. Have you been to New York before? Have you been an hour away to the next state or a few hours away to the next state? I think we've talked about this before, of just being able to just look around and say, you know what, if I pull out a map and drive this way until I don't feel like driving anymore, where will I be? Little stuff like that. Again, buses, if finances is a concern, finances are a concern, the bus, the train. I will tell you with the train, we'll start talking about some tips a little later, but with the train, you might get airport prices when it comes to stuff like that. So you have to be careful.
Right.
Plane, I mean, again, and I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to get into some of the tips, but a road trip, you figure out the gas money, gas prices are coming down now. So you decide you want to take a road trip. Again, you are in control of that. Get your budget together, and then there you go. All right, that was a tip, but we're gonna come back. So those are the ways to travel. You get a game like this, and what you do is, because I'm going to tell you this, it starts with knowing what's out there to have a desire to say, you know what, I want to try that out. Tell you what we did. One of the reasons I know how many states I've been to is because I would play this game with my children. And essentially what this game is what you can do is it'll tell you the capitals of the states. You can play how many of those how many states can you name in total out of the 50. There's just so many different things you can do with this, but what you can do is say, you know what, say the kid from the hood that's never been anywhere. Okay, but you have dreams of being in the NBA. You might sit there and say, you know what? Schools I want to go to. What states are they in? And just say, you know what? One day I want to go here. One day I want to go there. So we encourage travel. We encourage travel. Um, if you get a chance to go, go. Don't say I don't want to go and then stay in the house and you're on the block. You travel from one block to the next. No, no, no.
Right.
Go. If you don't enjoy it, you don't enjoy it, but you can at least say you did it.
Right. That experience.
Okay. The experience. That's what we need. We need to have more experiences. I think Fabulous said less trips to Miami. You know, let's do less trips to Miami. And only saying that because in our culture, we typically look at Miami and say, "Ooh, I've been to Miami," and that's it. Like, okay,
and it's gotten worse over the years.
exactly, exactly. So, D, talk to us about tips. What are some tips for traveling that you would give?
Well, first of all, I forgot to mention the train. And the train is, I actually took a train ride to New York recently, which was super dope. Very easy. I got it early, so the price wasn't bad at all. Yeah, and I actually took it right, and I actually took it from DC, which was cheaper anyway. But yeah, super dope. Obviously, no traffic. It wasn't that crowded. Smooth ride. Was able to sleep on there. So the train is highly recommended if you can get a good price. Like you said, those prices are starting to look like airplane prices now. Some tips for travel. I think preparation is huge. You know what I mean? Have it planned. You know, I'm a huge planner, bro. So have it planned out. You know, typically, as with anything, if you buy stuff in advance, it'll be cheaper. Again, if you can travel on off days, instead of going that Friday, maybe check and see if you can go that Thursday. Instead of coming back Sunday, see if you can come that Monday morning or something. You know, we talked about, when we was talking about gas prices, we talked about electric vehicles. So if you own an electric vehicle, you have to plan, okay, how long is this trip going to take me? Where are these charging stations at? So all that goes into planning, bro, because you don't want your 4-hour trip to now take you 10 hours because you couldn't find the charging station, and now you found one and you got to wait more hours. And, you know, we've heard the horror stories. Obviously, you want to stay at a reputable place. Check the reviews on these places. Check the crime in these places. I know a lot of, I saw something the other day, I forgot what island it was, but they've had an uptick in crime. And so, you know, you want to know where to go, where not to go. I think you talked about that when you went to Puerto Rico, or, you know what I'm saying? Just knowing, you know, just be smart. Be smart, people.
Just real quick, when we talk about that, if you're going to go, what do they call it? What do they call it? Off the resorts and stuff like that, and go into the actual neighborhoods. And
right.
I'm forgetting the term that's used, but if you decide you want to not be a tourist and go into some of the actual neighborhoods,
right,
I strongly suggest that you either second guess that or go with someone who
right.
know who lives there,
right,
who knows the ins and outs of things, because you don't want to have one of those situations where the best time of your life turns into the worst time of your life.
Correct.
Just because, again, you didn't plan properly, or because you weren't aware of some of the dangers of that area that come and that associated with it. Because a lot of times, you know, some of these beautiful countries that you may go to, or beautiful places that you'll go to realize it's beautiful for you, but that's where that person lives at, and they live in poverty.
Right.
So you're a meal ticket for them.
Right.
And you have to be very careful with stuff
right.
like that.
Right.
So that's another tip. It's another tip.
Right. Extension of that, know these places' laws, what's legal, what's illegal. You know what I mean? You don't want to, you know, unfortunate situation with Brittany Griner, but you know what I'm saying? Just know what's allowed, what's not allowed, places to go, places where not to go. And you said it, the key, if you do want to go off the grid and go into, you know, more the cities and the towns where these people live, go with somebody that knows the area, know where to go, what not to go, you know, may know the people there, you know what I mean? That can, you know, just take you around and you could be safe. We normally, when we go, we'll have a tour guide or somebody, you know what I mean? And we can say, yeah, y'all don't want to go there, or you can go there, but only at a certain time and this and that. So just be smart, um, plan, make sure, obviously make sure you got enough money and all this and that. Check whether, the Wi-Fi and stuff like that, you know what I mean? As far as communication, how you going to be able to, how people going to be able to contact you? Maybe you don't want to contact people. Are you going to, are you going to be emailing people? Are you going to be using WhatsApp or some other kind of app, things like that? Those are things you got to think about, man. Your phone plan. Do you have to use like the travel plan so you'll have some data while you over there?
I'm trying not to forget some of this stuff, so let me riddle off a few things. You mentioned the phone plan. So WhatsApp, if you're out of the country, as long as you have Wi-Fi, you're good. Yep. You're good. You're good. One other thing is, if you are, I would say, maybe carry some cash on you, right, but don't be a person that carries so much cash and you're just pulling out cash for everything. Again, right, you will make yourself a target.
Right.
That being said, what you can do is use a credit card. I always suggest using a major credit card, not your debit card. I'm going to say this again, use a major credit card for hotels, because they're going to do the amount plus incidentals. So it's going to be a big hold on your card, and you don't want that to be on the card that you want to be fluid with, and be able to do a lot of your spending with, because it will hold up a big amount and it won't release until maybe when you are back home in some days after that. So just be very careful with that, again, because you can always decide that maybe if you do carry cash and you keep it in one of the safes in the hotel, that you only use it with the intention that, okay, so I put the hold on my credit card, but I'm actually going to pay cash for things, because then what will happen is you've paid cash for the majority of that hotel stay. Now that hold will go back, and it's okay, because you look, oh my God, I put $3,000 on this card. Well, it's okay, because you got $2,000 that you're going to put towards the bill, so it's not as much. So those are some small things that I've noticed of just being in the industry that you want to be careful of. Another thing is, depending on your family size and your needs and wants, maybe a bed and breakfast, maybe an Airbnb or a Verbo is best, or maybe a hotel is best. But you have to take a look at sometimes location. Okay. Do you need a rental car? But again, that location is big time, because based on the location, it may help you to choose what's best and your family size. You got something else you want to say before you forget?
Yeah, well, Airbnb been tripping lately, so I don't know if we gonna be, giving them business.
Like briefly that. Tell us about Airbnb.
I'm not a huge Airbnb fan anyway, so yeah. I was kind of off them, but yeah, they've been in hot water recently. They recently had this property that you could rent. It basically was it used to be a slave quarters or a slave cabin or something, of course, in Mississippi. Terrible, right? But they were advertising it as like a former slave cabin or slave quarters. And people, the reviews on it was like, oh my God, it was so great staying here and blah 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 blah. And then somebody pointed it out, and now all of a sudden Airbnb apologizing. Yeah, it shouldn't have never been on there. We don't condone this, blah, 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 blah. All right. Yeah, you got caught. Somebody brought it to your attention. Now you're trying to do damage control. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you going to advertise this? This you going to advertise this product. First of all, the owners, how you going to advertise it as that? And then Airbnb, you going to let it be advertised on your platform. But anyway, I've never been an Airbnb fan like that. Two, I was going to say, one of the things, isn't it, you brought up credit cards. Isn't one of the positive things about using credit cards, is if something happened, like some fraud or something happened, they have like that fraud protection, or like a higher level of fraud protection, or a better level of fraud protection? Or is it about the same as with a debit card?
No, it's not the same.
Okay.
Number one, because it's not your money when it's a credit card.
Right.
And and I've had situations where I've been jammed up, woke up a day or two before I was set to leave, and somebody took $500 out of my checking account the night before, and then the morning of waking up, there was another 500. So they took the max they could take it out that they could take out. And turns out it was somebody that didn't do it where we traveled to, but somebody back home who was able to basically copy the credit card and use it and make an actual card and go to the ATM and make the withdrawal. So it is good to, again, I would say use that credit card. But if you are planning to carry cash, keep it in the hotel so that you can pay stuff off as you close out. So when you're checking out, just pay cash for it.
Right.
So just stuff like that. But
Right.
again,
I want to say this one more thing too. One more tip. Normally, I won't say I wasn't a fan, but normally I wouldn't insure my tickets, whether it was a train ticket or flight. But here lately, because it's been so much uncertainty in the travel industry, especially with flights, I've found myself insuring my tickets. So that may be a tip, y'all. If your flight gets canceled or something, because earlier in the pandemic, a lot of it, they was refunding everything because the cases might have went up or you might have changed your mind. It was like historically letting you get refunds and all this. It wasn't even vouchers. They were just refunding it. Now I think they kind of back on what they was on before. So you might want to look into insuring your ticket. I know it's a charge, but it may be worth the extra money.
Insuring everything, you could do it with your hotel rooms and stuff too.
Right.
So insuring everything, and just going back to
rental car.
Yeah. And then and just going back to what he was saying, make sure that you are checking your passport expiration dates.
Yes, don't be like me.
make sure you're checking them.
Look, I done checked everything. I done checked my license. That expired next year, so I got another 365. But yeah, make sure y'all check y'all stuff, man.
Something we do want to mention before we close out. Okay, this young man has got 2 envelopes, and he wants to re-emphasize something that we've talked about because we are still in the summertime.
Yeah, man. So just so y'all know it's real, we told y'all, if you have a birthday in the summer, we was gonna send y'all something. So here too, I done sent off several. I got 2 more I gotta send off tomorrow. So if you have a birthday in the summer, you can get one of these packages right here. And not all of them look like this. Some are different. These 2 just happen to look like this. And I'm mailing these out tomorrow morning. So if you have a summer birthday, holla at us. We got something for you. Yeah.
You heard what he said. You heard what we've said before. June, July, August, summer babies, we want to hear from you. Okay. As a token of our appreciation for you guys' continued support, we just wanted to do this little thing, share with you, because we are both August babies. So again, we wanted to make sure that you guys share in that with us.
Leo season.
No hate.
Blue dot. Sorry.
No hate to anybody else who's not in the summer, but we wanted to specifically highlight that. But I want to give a shout out to every person that has a birthday in June, July, and August. And we want to hear from you. Let us know the date. We're saying this for a reason now. If it's in August.
You definitely in August.
You
definitely in August.
You got to. It might even be a gift.
Yep.
So just make sure that you hit us up. Either way, June, July, August, we do want to hear from you. That being said and done, again, because of your continued support, we want to ask you to make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel so that you can see season 1, season 2 of the podcast. You want to make sure that you're also getting that audio experience with Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We are on both. Again, season 1 and season 2. Lastly, please make sure that you're following us on all other social media platforms. That's TikTok, that's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's also Twitter. Make sure that you are subscribed and following us on all social media platforms so that you don't miss a beat. Peace.
Peace.